welcome back. So today we will be practicing safely how to do supported headstand in the middle of the room. I know it can be really scary to practice in the middle of the room, but with the techniques I will show you, you'll be able to get into the pose without using the momentum that sometimes causes you to fall over. And speaking of falling out of the pose, if you feel like you're going to fall out of your supported headstand, the best way to do it is to cartwheel your legs out to the side. But if you feel like you're going to start tumbling over backwards, which is possible, just think about tucking your chin in and doing a little somersault like you used to do in middle school. All right, so let's get started. There's 4 different ways that you can get into your supported headstand safely in the middle of the room. All right, so as we come into it, get set up. All right, so the first way to do it is to walk your toes as close as you can towards your face. And then lift one leg into the air, right? And you'll start to lean your hips back and gently lift your legs off the ground, right? So this is with scissor legs. So as you press your lifted leg back, your other leg will come up, right? So it's kind of like a little teeter-totter. So you're using the weight of one leg to lift the other. Then from there, you can slowly bring your legs closer together, maybe to touch. And then when you're ready, slowly come back down. So that is one reason this exact technique, that hamstring flexibility is so important. Without good hamstring flexibility, it's going to be very difficult to do that split leg entrance. So I'm going to give you a few other options in case you don't have very open hamstrings. All right, so number 2 is bringing one knee into your chest at a time, or one knee in, the other leg up. So it looks like this. Get set up. And then you bring one knee into your chest. Really lean your hips back, right? That's what gets your other leg up. And you can lift that leg up. And then very slowly lift your bent knee. Right, so the biggest piece of advice here is to really lean your hips back way more than you think you need to. Lean, 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 and your other leg will float. All right? So that's number 2. Number 3 is very similar. That one still requires some hamstring flexibility. The next one is taking both knees into your chest. Right, so that way, if you don't have the hamstring flexibility to keep walking your toes up and in, you just bend both knees, hug them in, and then you can lift both legs straight up from there. Right, so getting set up. All right, so like I just said, you lean back and bring both knees into your chest. And then you can slowly lift up. Good. All right. So that one is really about like curling into a tiny ball, right? Finding that core compression, right? Like we practice with the crow pose of hugging your knees in, using your low belly then to lift your hips up and straighten your legs. The last one I'm going to show you is coming in from a wide-legged forward fold. And this one, just like the split leg, requires a decent amount of hamstring flexibility. All right, same way. Head down. You'll come up onto both tippy toes, lean your hips back. Yes, and then you can lift your legs wide-legged. And the biggest piece of advice for these that I can give you is lean your hips back more than you think you need to. And I really invite you to film yourself practicing. I think I mentioned this in a previous video, because we have a tendency to not know where our body is in space. So you might think you're in a straight line. You might think your hips are over your shoulders, when in reality, your legs or your hips are actually leaning, right? You're not vertical. So by filming yourself, you can give yourself some critique, which can be very useful and a great learning experience, especially if you don't have someone around you to say like, hey, no, lift your legs even higher, or if you don't have a teacher to help find alignment. So I invite you to record yourself to really help progress in your practice. The last thing I want to mention in this video is a couple do's and don'ts of supported headstand. So do be intentional, right? So be very aware of where your body is in space. Be very aware of your neck, right? Like I said, it's not meant to be weight bearing. So being very intentional about pressing into your forearms. Another do is keep practicing with a mat underneath your head. Right, that'll add a little bit of cushion. If you want, feel free to add in a little bit of a blanket underneath your head for a little extra cushion. And don't use momentum. I know I said to use some when we're up against the wall, but when you're practicing in the middle of the room, it's really just about leaning back, finding a little bit of leverage with your body weight to get your legs up in the air. So I hope you are able to take one of these techniques and start to apply it to your practice safely in the middle of the room. And tomorrow, I will show you how to find more control once you have your supported headstand. Really excited. See you tomorrow.